you know you're complaining about us demonizing Islam, but if the
no one can demonize.
No, but all right, here's the thing. Right, but here's the thing. If some problem happened over here, and some kind of disaster, and then the Muslims decided to try and counter it, they formed the Califate.
What?
No, if the Califate
over here,
that's a big
it can form in any country. No, but it can form in any country.
We live in a democracy here. I don't think that's
no, but the Califate can form in any country.
And at the end of the day,
you gotta take the Queen out, man. You got a military.
Right, but if it happens,
so you guys say absurd.
Yeah, but here's my question.
I can't entertain it.
No, but here's my question.
I apologise if I'm giving advice.
No, that's fine.
A pig can fly on the moon.
Do something better with your life, man. Coming here with cameras and stuff. You know you're grown. You know what I mean?
You're going off topic. You're going off topic.
I'm just being honest.
It's a democratic state. We have a military. We have police. The structures, the organisation place.
Was Iraq democratic?
This is where democracy started.
Yeah, but Iraq, did they have?
This is where it started.
Right, but did Iraq have like a ruler?
That can't happen here.
Right. So what happened in Iraq can't happen here?
Impossible.
You sure?
The British state is too strong. Impossible.
Right. And what, did Syria get invaded?
Syria has
This country, number one, this country is surrounded by water, so it's easy to secure. Number two, the intelligence it's too complicated. You need to go into politics, military. It's impossible. Even if someone tried to organise a coup here, it won't happen here.
Okay.
It could happen in a foreign country, but it can't happen here.
Okay, let's just get back to what happened there. Tell me, what's your understanding of what went on there?
I don't know what happened. One guy was rapping.
So you don't know?
One guy was rapping.
You find it cool to have a go at me?
No, one guy was rapping.
You find it cool to have a go at me?
He was rapping, you didn't like him rapping, and the other guy had some grievances.
That's all you thought it was? It's just rapping?
That's what I saw.
And that's all you could perceive
I could
that was
see
going
a guy
on?
Rapping.
That's all you can perceive what was going on?
I can't perceive anything else, can I? What else was going on? Unless if you want to interpret something else.
But anyway, the question I was going to ask you, so if the Caliphate came over here...
It can't, though, it's impossible.
but let me just ask the question
how,
anyway.
I'm going to ask you how. How?
Because there's loads of Muslims.
It's a hypothetical situation.
There's enough
Let's
Muslims.
not talk about hypotheticals.
No, but there's
Well,
still
you
enough.
can't talk about it, but he can.
Alright. There's still enough for a
You've got
Caliphate.
a vote, it's a democracy, so unless, if there's a vote, but even then it's impossible because you're living in a democracy.
Right. So Muhammad was a democracy?
No. You're conflating two issues. Yeah.
Like
what context are you coming? Are you democratic? What you need to come with a context. You can't just mix things here and there.
Yeah, but
peace be upon him. He was a prophet, like many other prophets, like Jesus, like Moses. Right? He was sent to a geographical location to a certain people with a certain message. So where are you going with that? I don't understand.
All right, but
where are you going with that?
No, what I was trying to say about democracy. But what I'm trying to say about the Caliphate
Britain,
is
in the 19th century.
Just listen to him. Let him finish. You talk. Let's do it.
It's just a simple question. So if the Caliphate was to come here, who would be able to? No. Let me just ask. Just finish. Who would be able to? Would the moderate Muslims be able to stop them? What would they use? Would they be able to use the Quran? Just answer me. Would the moderate Muslims be able to use the Quran to stop the Caliphate?
That's like saying a shoe's going to grow out your head. That's how impossible it is. There's no Caliphate coming here. There never has. There never will be. You can die. Another 1,000 years will go by.
Right.
The geography and the politics of this country, there will be no Caliphate.
But if there's no Caliphate, then why are Muslims staying here? Shouldn't they want to go where the Caliphate is?
No, because democratically you can stay here.
Yeah, but shouldn't Muslims want to go where there is a Caliphate?
There is no Caliphate.
No, shouldn't Muslims...
Huh?
I'm here the same reason why you're here.
1924.
Yeah, I know, but your forefathers...
Yeah,
it's abolished then.
But we don't have an order.
Your forefathers weren't here. They were, like my forefathers, they were relaxed where they were.
Yeah, but we don't
Somebody came and colonized them.
I know, but we don't have a fighting order from our religious leader. We don't have an order to fight.
Neither do we.
So Muslims don't. So what Umar...
Say that again?
So Umar, what he did was wrong.
What did he do?
After the real prophet died, when Umar went to Jerusalem, that was wrong.
That wasn't wrong. The Christians gave him the key. The Christians told him that they were being oppressed. There's two ways you can interpret something. You can say it's a Russian invasion, or you can say it's Russian liberation of Ukraine. Which one? What? Do you understand?
So they came...
If there's an enemy in your house and you're inviting somebody to come inside, and he can say, well, I've invaded your house. It depends which way you want to interpret it.
But have you heard
which narrative? You want to go with this narrative? Which narrative?
So
you want to go with the hostile narrative?
No, so you haven't heard of the Pact of Umar? You haven't
I
heard
know,
of
I've read the history.
and so that's all peaceful.
It was a war of self-defense, but it's arguable. You can argue it's an invasion.
So they wanted the Muslims to come so that they couldn't have bells in their churches anymore. That's the reason why.
Because you had a Byzantium Empire that had many fractions. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but they weren't happy with the Byzantium rule within Jerusalem. They wanted liberation, so they asked Umar to come. He came with a donkey with his servant, and he said to the servant, you go on the donkey. And when they came, they thought the servant was Umar, and he was pulling the donkey. And then the Christian, the priest, he gave him the keys to the city. There was no conquest. There's no what you're talking about.
So the pact
he said to him, come to the church and pray. And he said, I'm not going to pray in the church because I fear that those that come after me will turn the church into a mosque. So he prayed outside.
He prayed as a Muslim or Christian?
As a Muslim.
All right, so you haven't heard about the history which suggests he was a Christian?
No, there is bad history within us. I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
There's history in Christianity. People do a lot of wrong things. Unless if you're a prophet, you don't
How you
make
doing?
mistakes.
All right.
Yeah, we do have some. I'm not saying our history is brilliant. There is colonization.
You got a bike.
Yeah.
You got a helmet.
We do have a colonial aspect to our Islamic role. I'm not denying that or denounce it. But within the Ottoman period, there was a lot of injustice going on. But that was going on even within amongst ourselves. The Sunnis, the Shias, the sectarian. But you have to look at things geopolitically in that context, not in the world we live in today.
So you prefer like how it is here, where the heathens get to rule and there's no caliphate.
No, I don't prefer. I prefer religion and state shouldn't be separated.
Can you ride it good?
So you prefer a caliphate?
I prefer that human beings were all guided by prophets, whether they're Chinese or wherever you come from.
Yeah.
The Quran says there was 124,000 prophets in the world.
Do you actually believe that?
Yeah. Every nation had a prophet and a warner. And mankind, as a human being...
Is there any proof of that?
As mankind, we always search for the divine meaning. We always hear that there's a greater purpose. And here they said religion and state should be separated. So I think there should be a multiplicity.
No, you're talking over here.
Wherever in the world, you should divide, you should rule by what God has given, whether it's the Vedas by the Hindus, whether it's the Bible by the Christians, or the Jews, or the Muslims.
Or the caliphate.
That can all come under a caliphate. If you
you
could have a Christian caliphate, you could have a Jewish caliphate, you could have a Hindu caliphate, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah. Caliphate is not exclusive to just Muslims. Caliphate existed at Solomon, at the time of Israel. That was a caliphate.
Yeah. So if there was a caliphate,
David,
right? But if
that was a caliphate.
Yeah. If there was a caliphate,
Holy Israel was a caliphate.
Yeah, no, and it enforced
and
Surah.
what Israel's trying to build now is a caliphate.
Yes, and it tried to enforce Surah 534, I think it is. Would you agree with that?
You can't enforce anything without the consent of the governed.
No, but from the Quran, I mean. That's from Allah.
But even in Quran, you need the consent of the governed.
What? For what Allah says?
You need consent of the governed. You can't force
of the caliphate if there was
anything. In the Quran, it's quite clear. La ikrah fid din. There's no compulsion in religion. You can't force.
Well, I want to agree with that.
A political rule on somebody that doesn't accept it. You know, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he came to Mecca, they rejected him, and then when he went to Medina, they accepted him. And in Medina,
and what happened to him after? He destroyed all of them.
No. In Medina, he actually
that's not very good, is it?
A political equality. In Medina, there was Hindus.
Someone welcomed you into their land, right?
Christians.
Peaceful, welcome into the land.
Yeah.
And then he turned on them, and then he killed them all off.
If you're talking about democracy,
what is that?
It was called the Mishkat of Medina. It's called the Constitution of Medina. The political quality of Medina.
And don't say that they didn't sign any treaties, because no treaties were signed. There's only about 2 or 3 people signed treaties out of the whole tribe.
Where he ruled, he got different tribes, so it wasn't democracy. You know how he ruled?
Who? Muhammad?
I told you, peace be upon him. You know how he ruled? He didn't do one vote, one person. He went to tribes. The tribes were warring. So you had Jews, Christians, and pagan Arabs who were warring with each other, and internally they were warring. So he went to the tribal heads to form a coalition. He went to one. You're the head of your tribe, let's say your Jewish tribe, spoke to them individually, and came to a constitutional agreement. And they all accepted him. And he ruled on the base of religious equality, not religious discrimination. And you know what religious equality means?
You see, the signing of this treaty,
a free
We're
and a
talking
fair
about the
market.
treaty that was signed.
1 second, a free and a fair market.
You see,
So
the treaty wasn't signed.
It was signed. In Medina, you know the market, there was no sanctions. You know right now, Britain's imposed sanctions. The Prophet never imposed sanctions.
Okay,
he said the market was free. A Hindu, a Christian, a Jew can come in the market and he can have equal status as a Muslim. Just because you're Muslim, you don't have any higher status in the market. A free and a fair market. He destroyed interest, riba, which is the greatest oppression of mankind. Slavery. That's why you have to work. Because of interest. We're all slaves to the financial IMF. He destroyed all of that.
Yeah, so that's why you need the Caliphate.
Do you understand? And that's why they accepted his rule. You know, Islam is beautiful. You know, in the Quran, it actually calls for multiplicity of caliphates. So it acknowledges that there's going to be a Jewish caliphate, there'll be a Christian caliphate, there'll be a Chinese caliphate.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 48. God said He created you in tribes and multiplicity is nations. Yeah? Not as one. Each was given away. Alright, come on, let's go. I have to go now. I've got to leave. That's one day when Jesus comes. When Jesus comes, He'll sort out the mess.
Israelites will return to take down Islam.